So PitchIt is something started by a not-for-profit organization called Open People Network, or OPN for short. And they've been doing these PitchIt events with a major focus of giving startups who are looking to raise money the opportunity to practice their pitches in front of angel investors, who will then give them feedback, knowing that the angels in this particular scenario do not have their checkbooks. So this is a safe environment. The format will go that each of the, it's like my eyes are being blinded. I'll stand over here. So the format is each of the startups will have a chance to stand up here. They'll do their 5-minute pitch, and then each of the angels, or 2 of the angels, and we'll do kind of a rotating thing, will have 1 minute of uninterrupted time to provide feedback. And the feedback typically is not, oh, that was really nice, I liked your slides. Like, it's like, okay, I didn't understand your value proposition, your valuation is incorrect, your assumptions around revenue make no sense. So pretty direct feedback that you probably, as a founder, if you're looking to raise money, you probably want to hear that here when there is no money on the line, versus when you've gone and done your pitch, you leave the room thinking, hey, high fives everybody, you don't realize you just fucked up. So that's kind of the intention of this. Safe environment doesn't mean it's going to be loving and cuddly. If it's a little rough, it's intended to be, because it'll give each of the founders something to think about to improve their pitches. And the reason that Brian's recording it is that the founders will have the opportunity later to watch the pitches and kind of analyze the feedback. So this isn't if you blink and you missed it. This is really the purpose of OPN. And I've had beers with JP to talk to Jeffrey about this. He's committed, and the organization's committed to helping startups. And so the whole purpose is, let's film it, give people an opportunity to really learn how to improve their chances of making money, raising money, because that helps all of us. So this is the 46th event that OPN has run as far as PitchIt's concerned. They run PitchIts in Toronto. I think it's every month at the Lodge. In Toronto. Talk to Laura, she knows more detail. I've been out of the loop for a little while. But they do have a signature event at Toronto City Hall, and that'll draw 300 to 400 people. So there's some really interesting things. They do pitch at York. They've done pitchits in Durham, and I'll talk about one more partnership coming up. So today's agenda, I'll be yapping for a little bit, but kind of the stars of the show are the companies that are pitching, and we'll get to that in a second. Towards the end, the elevator pitches, for those of you who are not one of the 5 companies, if you do have an organization and you want to come up here and pitch it for 30 seconds, we invite you to do that. So that's coming up at the end. And like I said, the OPN runs a bunch of events. Here are the 3 events that are coming up in July. If you go to the website OPN Ninja or OPN.Ninja, you can see the calendar of upcoming events beyond July. So for the benefit of those with flash photography, 3-second pose. So the partnership I was talking about, OPN again, the intent is to help startups. If you've never heard of Fireside Conference, Fireside is it's going into their 5th year. So if you picture a startup, entrepreneur, investor type of conference that would take place typically in the Metro Convention Center or something, think Collision, but maybe a bit smaller. But the intention of bringing together startups and investors and so forth, and take that and dump it into a campground, that's what Fireside is. So it takes place at Camp Walden. Like I said, I think 5th year right now. And at Camp Walden, phones don't work. There's literally one cabin there. Like once you go outside of Bancroft, within minutes your cell service dies. So there's one cabin at Camp Walden where if either you go in the cabin and it's Wi-Fi, or you stand on the rock, and I'm not kidding, 1 foot like this, and you get 1 bar. The intention is to give people who typically are go, 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 the opportunity to kind of detach and just connect with other people who are like-minded as innovators, problem solvers, entrepreneurs, whether they are founders or they're investors or they're mentors or what have you. So that takes place the first weekend in September after Labor Day, so I guess the second weekend. So it's a 4-day thing. Typical cost is about $2,500. The partnership that OPN and Fireside have, if you go through that partnership, it's $1,500, $1,499. And so what's included for any of you who are like, oh, that's kind of interesting, is all food. So for the 4 days, it's all the food you can eat, all the alcohol, not that I'm promoting it, so alcohol, drink in moderation. But if you wanted to drink not in moderation, they support, there's availability too for all the moderating you want to do. All the events, there's the talks are kind of interesting. Instead of this PowerPoint microphone, It's the guy who founded Wealthsimple standing in his cargo shorts in front of the lake, talking about his journey as CEO of Wealthsimple with no PowerPoints, with no jackets, just t-shirt, shorts, flip-flops, some person water skiing in the back. And you have this, kind of this, world-class type conversation with no props and no whatnot. So that's kind of the vibe of Fireside. So if that sounds interesting to you, take a look at, go to Google Fireside Conference or talk to Laura about this partnership. Okay, so we switch over to the impact and the range that PitchIt has had. These are the logos of all the companies that have pitched. So this being, we're in the 46th event today, so there's definitely a bit of a legacy here. Now, PitchIt has been something that OPN does really well is work in partnership with local, other organizations, whether they are organizations like YSpace. So if you're curious to learn more about this area, David Kwok, who is one of our advisors, and I'll introduce him in a second, he can tell you all sorts of things about what YSpace provides for space, for mentorship, for community. I'm not going to go through all of this. Just to highlight a few. So Hardboot, Laura also works for Hardboot, and they build apps for businesses. And so, kind of OPN is kind of a side of desk, but really like a second desk job for Laura. Flow, which is the water supplier, they are one of OPN also has a for-profit side, an accelerator, and Flow is one of the I think one of the companies that OPN has helped, and so they've been providing water as part of a sponsorship agreement. And last thing I'll point out is York Angel Investors. So the York Angel Investors, I think now are about 130 investors, accredited investors, meet monthly in the Markham area, but really have done a really good job building community beyond. So whether it's Toronto, whether it's Durham region, whether it's Peel, Halton, the York Angel Investor Network is really growing in numbers in terms of number of investors plus deal size. One of the largest in Canada, I think the second largest in Canada. And so OPN draws heavily from York Angels as well as a few others. But tonight we've got two members of the York Angels here to help as advisors. And York Angels has been a consistent supporter and partner to OPN and the PitchIt events. So we made a change. I didn't think I could offer as much as Dave could. So David Kwok on the right hand, the furthest right, he is the manager who runs YSpace. Previous to that, he ran operations, some of the operations at the Ryerson DMZ. I will say David has taken, YSpace has been around for about a year and a half-ish. And a year and a half YSpace, this was an idea. Today, everything back there are companies that David has helped recruit. Over there are companies that David's recruited. David is an anchor in this ecosystem as far as, if you are a startup or you're an investor or you're interested in startups, David is someone you must know. Incredibly well connected, incredibly giving, very modest. But because he helps pretty much every startup here, he's also a wealth of knowledge. So David's here to provide the perspective of, I have worked with a whole bunch of startups both here and at the DMZ, and I can offer that knowledge. Arshan and Angelo are both also members of the York Angel Investor Network. Arshan, you're saying you've been investing for the past few years, and Angelo, you've been Angel of the Year. You are part of the, so in the process, if you're a startup and you're looking for funding with the York Angels, the process is you will submit your application online. Cassandra from York Angels will call and do a phone screen. If you kind of answer the questions that need to be answered, you then go to a screening meeting. Angel typically has been leading those screening meetings where there are about 3 angels and you do your pitch. And then you basically face a small dragon's den. If you get past that, then you present to the full angel group. So Angela's done that for a number of years. Previously, Angela was part of NRC IRAP, so Technology Investment Wing of the federal government. So he's kind of done quite a few things. Okay, good, you're nodding, that's good. As opposed to, no. And you've had, yes, because you didn't have things to do, so you also ran your own company. And exited. Anything else? Anything else I missed? The point is that there's a wealth of knowledge sitting over here. So, and that's kind of the spirit of OPN, is offering that knowledge, very pointed, very focused, especially after I finish talking, to the startups. So today, these are the startups that will be presenting. I'm not going to introduce them because they're going to do that on their own. So a little bit of history just about JP. The short answer, JP is a serial entrepreneur, started Hardboot, and he spends a lot of his time helping startups. Also on the team is Laura. Laura is the general manager of Hardboot and also does a lot of the support work for OPN and PitchIt. Katrina does a lot of the marketing work. She's not here today, personal conflict, but it takes a team. Is kind of the point of this. And then Brian, who is filming, is at the back, and Mike does I think more of the Toronto-based activities. So there is a team behind this is kind of the point. Oh, here we are. Okay, so we're gonna we're done all of me. So we're gonna do the pitches. So 5 minutes, the format will be 5 minutes pitch presentation, and then each two of the angels, and they can kind of figure out which of the two they want. We'll have 1 minute to get feedback, and then you guys, the audience, will have a chance to ask questions. You will use the mic again, like we'll be doing this audience mic thing, because we want to record all the questions. So later on, when you as a founder, you want to go back and take a look, you can hear what the questions were. Any questions? Okay. Acorn? All right, Acorn Talent.
Do I get a clicker?
So I will be timing, Laura will be timing. For 5 minutes, so there'll be a firm, very direct cutoff in 5 minutes.
Got it, okay. Hello, we are Acorn Talent, and we are nuts about data. Ever since our team came together in October, we realized that as high school students, which we all are, by the way, it's really hard for us to get that perfect technical internship, because a lot of employers want you to be a university graduate, want you to have certain credentials that we simply don't have. That's why we came up with the idea to help the most talented STEM students get their first great job in data science through digital quizzes, through hackathons, and through recruitment events. My name's Erica. I'm the chief executive officer of this company. This is Serena, our chief marketing officer, and Jelena, our chief revenue officer.
So the world is increasingly in need of technically qualified data scientists. Every time we open Netflix or YouTube, whatever is recommended for us is because of data analytics. Canada's data analytics currently brings in $1.8 billion in revenue each year. The average starting salary for a data architect is $115,000 a year, and by 2020, there will be 43,000 data-related positions available in North America. This goes to show how important data science is to our future. So Acorn Talent addresses a variety of pain points, including a lengthy recruitment process. Large corporations have thousands of applicants that need to be technically and communicationally pre-screened. Company workforces also lack diversity, which is important for different perspectives to be brought to the table. They also tend to recruit from 1 to 2 selective schools or programs.
So here is our product demo. Would you mind clicking the video? So here we have developed a platform that helps candidates actually showcase their technical skills, specifically in data science. So they can sign in with a simple email password, and then they can go on the dashboard where we have multiple tests and quizzes that are on different topics related to data science. This is our Python test, which is a 15-question multiple choice quiz, by the end of which you will see a score out of 15, and if you do well, recruiters will hopefully contact you and offer you any further opportunities. So here's our product journey. We started off with ideation. So like I mentioned before, we are all direct people that were in contact with this problem. So we didn't know how to deal with it. That's why we decided to tackle it. Once we came up with the idea, refined it, we designed it, developed it, and did vigorous QA testing to actually make sure the product worked. After which we actually came to this exact spot to pitch it at the PitchIt event, which, Lucas, I'm sure you remember. And we won that competition, which is great validation to say our product is actually viable. And then we launched our product at our own event, which Jelena will be talking about later.
So our target market is split into 2 groups, the first being university students who have the technical capabilities to do our quizzes and are looking for employment in the data science field. The second being large corporations that are in the recruitment process for data scientists. Like I said earlier, these corporations have thousands of applicants, and I believe we could save them both time and money by completing this pre-screening process for them.
And so we have two main revenue models. The first is through our digital platform. Every time we help a company find a successful candidate, whether that be an intern or a full-time hire, we charge them $1,000 for each intern and $5,000 for each full-time hire. The second is custom quizzes. We understand that different companies have different needs. Hence, every time we help a company create a custom quiz, we charge them $299. The second is through our experiences platform. And so there we gain revenue through corporate sponsorships and as well gifts in kind. And so the first physical manifestation of our experiences platform was through our Call of Data Datathon. Through this event, this was a 12-hour event where we brought together data enthusiasts who were able to innovate and create. And so we brought together 100 enthusiasts who created 25 data-driven solutions, and ultimately there was one winner who was actually from Ryerson, thereby demonstrating that undiscovered STEM talent truly lies everywhere. And so we garnered support from large companies such as CPPIB, PagerDuty, Deloitte, and Lyft. And so through this event, we were able to gain $8,000 in-kind sponsorships and raise over $2,500 in corporate sponsorships, bringing us to a total of $11,000.
So here are our financials to summarize how our company did as a whole. We had an initial capital of $1,425, a total revenue of $3,530, and a return on investment of 29.72%.
So where are we going to go in the future? We plan on exploring both the digital side as well as our physical side. On the digital side, we want to provide more analytics towards your users. So even if you don't end up getting that perfect job, we still want you to get something out of our platform. We also want to provide more tests so more corporations can actually get something out of our pre-screening. On the experiences side, we are actually thinking about hosting another datathon in August, this coming August, and we also want to host more recruitment events to bring together employers and potential employees. Ultimately, we as Incorn Talent want to help the most talented STEM students get their first great job in data science. If you are a student looking for a perfect data science job, we want to help you find it. And if you're a recruiter looking for that perfect hire, we are Acorn Talent, and we help you find your purple squirrel. Thank you.
So you guys get to keep one mic, and I'm going to offer it to you guys for a minute.
So great presentation. I think from an investment perspective, boils down to money. So what I didn't see is what you guys need to raise, what you think you're going to make in terms of your revenue projections, and what sort of return an investor would get based on their investment.
So great job presenting. I like what you're doing, and I think the mix of the online platform and also the experience side of things, the events, is a good way of really building a business. And I think the experiential aspect of it will really help build the interest in what you're providing in terms of the solutions. The one thing I would recommend, what would be really good in your first event that you had the winner from Ryerson. What would be good is to then talk about the rest of the story. So what happened with the winners? Did they go on and actually build something from that experience? And what impact did it have? So if you can round the story up with that, I think it would be even a greater compelling story that you bring to the table. But you did a great job, and I agree with Arshan. But you're really at that very embryonic stage at this particular point. So it's, I wouldn't expect you to really get to the fine granularity of how much, what you're willing to give up and so on at this particular stage. So good stuff.
I think echoing what everyone said, I think great presentation, skills, projection, and all that. Similar thing, I think, is just what you're asking, what you're looking for. It'd be nice to know if you have done any placements, because the whole goal of it is to get placements done. So it would be nice to know if that happened yet, or are you on track? When are you planning to? And what's the numbers look like how many people have done the quizzes? So some of the platform numbers would be great. I think that will help round it out a little bit. Or if the timeline is that, you're doing these recruitment tools and that's what you're doing. That's phase 1. Then phase 2, I think that roadmap was missing for me, just to understand when you're actually going to hit that goal of what you're trying to do. But outside of that, I think the ask and everything else is what we're looking for as well.
Fantastic. Thanks, advisors. So we're going to switch gears, and you guys get, we'll do 5 minutes of audience questions. You guys can respond to the questions. Anybody, suggestion, question?
They cannot respond.
You can respond.
They can. Have you guys heard about Hervolution at all? Hervolution, it's run by Doina Ansel, and her focus is to help encourage women in STEM. So I can connect you if you're interested, but she'd be a great contact for you, and perhaps you guys can collaborate and or maybe speak. She has a forum that she does a Saturday in the summertime, so maybe you guys could speak at that or something instead. Who knows?
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Let's talk later about that.
Yeah, definitely good call on Hervolution. Going once, going twice? Okay, thank you. Thanks. So in the interest of not breaking a microphone, so the order of the pitches, next will be Creation Crate, followed by Rapid Stir, Misled, finally Fit In. So now you can mentally kind of frame. So Chris, you're up.
My name is Chris, and I'm the founder and CEO of Creation Crate. Creation Crate is a platform that combines online courses and hands-on projects. Hands-on learning is one of the most effective forms of education. It is 15 times more effective than sitting in a lecture. So here's why we're doing this. We live in a world today where automation and technology are taking over more jobs every day, and our schools are still not preparing us for this reality. I mean, we're following a model of education that was built in the 1800s, before we had cars and roads, let alone the internet. We need to change the way we do education, and we should have done it a long time ago. In today's world, we need more problem solvers, builders, and makers. It's going to be the only way to get around in a world of automation. And our schools aren't producing these kinds of people. They're producing people that are good at following orders. And that was great in the 1800s when we needed factory workers, but it's not what we need today. So the platform that we're building will be able to create more problem solvers, builders, and makers at scale, using hands-on learning combined with technology. So here's the product that we have today. Hands-on projects and curriculum delivered to your door in combination with online courses. So right now with Creation Crate, you can learn about electronics and programming, structural engineering, and wearable technology. And we sell these all as subscriptions that range from $15 a month to $40 a month. To give you an idea of the competitive landscape, we have 2 types of competitors, hands-on and digital. We came into the market as a hands-on product, and the way that we chose to differentiate ourselves is by being education first. So that means having a structured curriculum behind our product, and not just any curriculum. STEM.org is the leading certification body for STEM products, and they gave Creation Crate one of the highest ratings that they've ever given. Now, if you don't know what STEM is, it stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. So really, it's quality education content that makes us different from our hands-on competitors. And because of that difference, we saw an opportunity to expand our content into e-learning. So on the digital side, our competitors are existing e-learning platforms. And these platforms normally teach things like design, software, programming. So just by nature of them being purely digital, they teach very different subjects from what we do. This is our traction so far. I started Creation Crate with $150, and we've bootstrapped it to now over $1 million in total sales over 3 years with a 46% year-over-year growth. We have average monthly revenues of $36K, which we get primarily through direct-to-consumer subscriptions, but you could also find us on Staples.com and StaplesAdvantage.com as a featured product in the STEM education category, where they dropship our products. To give you an idea of the size of the market, we consider ourselves an e-learning platform. The e-learning industry is on pace to be worth $331 billion by 2025, which is double what it was just 4 years ago. So that's just to give you a sense of how fast the market is growing. But our focus is going to be on the United States. So in the US alone, we have an addressable market of about 30 billion, but we're focusing on a target market of about 4 billion to start. Our goal is to become the Netflix of hands-on learning. So we launched in 2016 as a subscription box, and in January of this year, we added e-learning to the product. So now there's an online classroom to walk you through the projects and also give you the education content in the form of text and video. So that's been live for about 4 months now, and we've already seen an increase in our retention rate by 23% because of it. The next phase of the product is the Netflix of hands-on learning, where you'll be able to browse and discover different subjects and projects and really have complete control over your learning experience. So right now we have an open round of $350,000, and that's going to go towards building out a scalable acquisition model and working capital. So our two primary growth channels are paid acquisition and influencer marketing. And some of the key milestones that we expect to hit with these funds are 7,000 new customers, reducing our cost of acquisition to $45, and increasing our return on ad spend to 3 to 4x. This is our financial forecast. Assuming that we hit the numbers that we expect to hit, we're going to raise an additional round in 2020 of about $1 million, and that's primarily going to go towards building out phase 3 of the product, which is the Netflix of hands-on learning. Okay, there's a slide missing here, but it's supposed to show our team of executives. 4 of us are former founders. We have a former STEM educator, and we have strong backgrounds in marketing, operations, tech, and fulfillment. We also have a team of very experienced advisors, one who has founded and exited his own ed tech company and has a lot of experience in the education industry, and another who founded and exited one of the most successful subscription boxes ever called NerdBlock. So that's Creation Crate. Help us make education great again and join our seed round. Thank you.
You guys, two people. Seems like based on the last precedent, each of you can go up to a minute.
Seen you several times. I think a lot has changed, which is great. First time seeing the new presentation, I think projection, everything was great. I think the thing is I think having those testimonials, that would be great to kind of see what the customers are saying, especially with the change in product, especially with the retention, how much they're getting out of it. So having some of those personal pieces would be amazing, I think. But outside of that, I thought it kind of covered most of the bases. I didn't think anything was really missing there.
So good job. I'm excited to see what you've done in the past 3 years, and it looks pretty promising. The presentation's amazing. I think the content was really good and very well delivered. The one thing that I would just say at the end is just what's in it for me. So if you're asking for $300 and some odd thousand, I didn't really understand what I get for that money.
I'm glad he's interested, so I can add him on the list of the potential investors as I'm leading the DD on this. David, you're welcome to join in. But from a feedback, and I know you didn't put it up there in terms of the valuation of the company to determine the return to the investors, because that's what we're trying to negotiate right now. I like that you had all of the elements of the things that we look for. How much does it cost to acquire a customer? The one thing I would like to get a better sense of, and that I really want to dig deep once we get together, is determining, once you've acquired that customer, what's the lifetime value that that customer is going to bring to the table in terms of revenue. So having more metrics on not only your top line, but also the impact on the bottom line. And also, I would like to see long-term the goal, both for yourself and for us as investors. What's the exit strategy, and when do you see that exit occurring, so that both of us, or all of us, can realize the return on the investment? But great job.
Thank you.
Okay.
And Lucas is going to
Yeah, I was going to suggest an event between Creation Crate and Anchorworks. Okay, any comments, questions? Don't everybody just jump up. There's only one mic. Going once, going twice. Okay, thank you. Good job. Rapid Stir.
Good. Okay, hello, I'm Callum, co-founder here at Rapid Store. So Rapid Store is an online marketplace for storage. We'd like to say we're the Expedia for storage. So why storage? Well, we found a gap in the market. We found proven results through research overseas, and overall we would just like to grow the self-storage market and sharing economy here in Toronto. So how do people usually search for storage? Well, they go on the web, they use Google, Kijiji, Yellow Pages, but they all end up with the same result. Either self-storage companies or private spaces such as garages, basements, extra rooms, stuff like that. And people, when they're looking for storage, they consider price, location, and security. So the solution, we created a website where they can find all of that in one spot. You have self-storage, private storage, and with our new update coming next week, portable storage. It's very easy to use. For owners, they can list their space for free on our website, and for renters, they can come and find what's most convenient. Key considerations in the market. The self-storage industry is a $35 billion annual industry in North America, with 265,000 people using self-storage in the GTA, which 90% is being occupied. We have 3 streams of revenue, peer-to-peer, business-to-consumer, as well as portable container. So peer-to-peer, it works quite easy. We take a 13% commission on top of the price that they would pay. So for example, $100, $113. Business to consumer, it's a little bit different. We would take a $50 monthly subscription plus a 6% referral fee, which is similar to the portable storage provider, which we would just keep 10% commission. Our market validation, currently we have 450 verified users and almost 100 transactions on our website and 15 facilities that are ready to upload their listings next week when our update comes in. So our milestones, on January 1st, 2019, we launched our website. Later in the year, we hope to develop an app at the beginning of next year, and then this time next year, become the most popular storage website in Canada. Financials, total revenue from 2019 to 21 is projected to be about $9 million with total profit 4.5. And our marketing strategy, peer-to-peer, cost per acquisition is $20 through direct targeting, segmented targeting, and strategic partnerships. And our business-to-business or business-to-consumer is about $149, $150. So our scale goals, currently this year we hope to become Toronto's storage hub. By next year, at the end of next year, we hope to become Ontario's largest storage hub, and by 2022, Canada's largest storage hub. We do have a few competitors at the moment. Space I Share locally in Toronto, Share B from Montreal, and Neighbor, who we look up to from the United States, that started in 2017 and have raised $4 million. We do have a competitive advantage. We're the first website like this in North America to offer what we do. It's safe. We have verified users as well as insurance. And it's a problem solver, one-stop shop, everything's there, and it only takes a few clicks to book. So investments, we're looking for $300K, which we would spend on marketing and growth, website update as well as an app, and just equipment and operations. We have a few partners, and we're also actually a part of Collision in Waterloo. Also with Profilio, which is a Toronto agency, helps startups. This is our team. And that's it. Thank you.
So I think the thing for me is I felt like everything that you were saying I could read. So I felt like I wanted a story more so, and I didn't really get that. I think when you put up the numbers, similar to what Angela said before, I think it's nice to know how much you're giving away. I think that's might be a theme, but it's nice to know how much you're giving away and what that kind of looks like. And then especially with the slides with the numbers, you went through that really fast. So even as I was trying to follow, and you said 9 million, I think you said it and you clicked right away. So I was like, where is it? I was trying to find it. So I think cut down on some of the slides and spend a little bit more time, maybe more imagery, and talk to us a little bit more so we can get fuller story, because I feel like there's a lot that we can dig through. So I think that story mode is what I'm really looking for more so than anything else.
So good job, guys. I think to David's point, there's a lot of information on there. The slides had a little bit too much data, especially when you got to the financial side. So I would cut back some of the information and talk to it and just highlight the key numbers on the screen. The other thing I would say is, I mean, I've done some investments in the physical side of it with some storage REITs, and I'd like to understand how you guys compare relative to them in terms of your value proposition, and how an individual would feel as opposed to putting their life stuff that they don't touch for years, but they still value it, right? So that's why they're keeping it. And rather than going to a business that's they know is going to be there, they're putting it in someone's basement or someone's garage. How do they feel about that, and how do you address that concern, as well as the security aspect of, you know, does it stay secure? And then also the other side of it is there an insurance consideration for their valuables, and who's covering that insurance part of it? And again, to David's point, like if we're putting money in, we want to know what are we getting, both in terms of what's the valuation on the business, and what's the return or the exit for us.
And just on that point, it's not just what's the return on investment, but really what instrument are you talking about? Are you talking about common shares, preferred shares, convertible debentures, a safe? Each one will have its particular attractiveness to the angel community, so you might really want to think about how that disbursement of funds from the angels to you is going to occur. A couple of points, and you did zip through the presentations, but then again, your name is Rapid Store, right? So you went through it rapidly, which is cool. One thing I wanted to sort of, or would love to have seen more of, is what is your actual moat? How do you differentiate from your competitors? You did indicate that you have some competitors already in the space. They may not be providing the full range of services that you described, but what prevents them from pivoting and replicating some of the things that you have in place? So is there anything that you have that would prevent that from occurring? Also, I've seen a lot of interesting business opportunities that have really rapid growth, and that was one slide that I would have liked to have seen you spend a bit more time on, how you scale from your existing revenue state to something like 8 million in like a 1-year period of time. That is a true hockey stick, given the stage that you're in. But I think you present well. You might, and it's kind of difficult because of the time constraints that you have here, right? But at some point, and normally I don't say this in these type of events because usually we have to cut people off, spend a little bit more time on some of those important aspects.
Any questions or comments? No? Is it getting off easy? Okay, thanks. So, just a little bit of change of pace, actually. You guys just to kind of cut up the routine a little bit, we've got this one question coming up around advisors, and so I'm gonna, well, you can read the, right. So I'll give you my thoughts, and that gives you guys time to think about it. The question being, if I'm looking for an advisor, where do I start? Because I need to understand the value and you know, steps I need to take for my business. So from my perspective, and within York Region, that's what I'm going to concentrate on. Well, within York Region, there are a lot of organizations that bring together experienced business owners, entrepreneurs, people who want to give back, and kind of set them up alongside companies that are just starting out. And whether they're event-based, such as a startup weekend, which is a 54-hour thing where you know, the organizer will do all the work and whatnot, and to attract people who are coming in to start businesses. but also invite in mentors who are looking to work with these startups. There's event-based. There are organizations like YSpace. The sister of YSpace, also part of Innovation York at York University, is Launch YU, and they're based out of the Kiel campus. They'll do a lot of events there, and there are opportunities to, if you're a startup there, to meet potential mentors and people who can advise. There are other organizations that help people start up their businesses in the region, so small business enterprise centers. They're run by, in Markham, Richmond Hill, Vaughan, and then out of Newmarket, and they also have access to mentors. So there are organizations funded by various levels of government who do bring in community business owners and so forth who can act as mentors, depending on what it is you need, whether it's accounting or setting up or your IP structure or figuring out how to do prototyping and whatnot. There are people who are looking to give back to the community through these organizations. There are also many-to-many meetups. So whether they're meetups through the boards of chambers, which typically are more marketing, but you can find people. Startup York Region, which is a community that I coordinate. We do monthly events, no pitch, no selling to each other, so it's a very safe environment. We also don't charge anything, and those are opportunities to meet other entrepreneurs who are looking to give back, and you can meet potential mentors and advisors in a more casual setting. So there are a lot of, over the last 6 years, I've grown my business from nothing to a variety of things now, and the trip that I've seen is 6 years ago, it was really hard to find events, or hard to find help, whether it be events or people or whatnot in York Region. Today, the challenge is, and I think David and I are both part of the problem, is that there are too many events. So if you are looking for specific help is around. You just need to know what it is you're looking for and go to, whether it's event or organization, know kind of search for the event that or organization that best suits the kind of questions you have. It's all available up here though. So I stalled to give you guys a chance to think about how you would answer this question.
Where do I start? It's really look at facilities that actually are focused in the area and the stage that you're at. And typically there is a roster of individuals that engage with the organization. So here, with David, he's a great addition. I've participated in several activities here, and just the other day, I had my regular 3-month meeting with one company that's here, that just to sit down and get a gauge of, okay, where are you at now? What's your revenue model now? Have you pivoted? If not, what's been your growth, and how do you look at pivoting? So attending those things are really important. And the advice that I always tell entrepreneurs, there is a huge amount of time being spent by a lot of entrepreneurs chasing money as opposed to chasing customers. And in fact, once you chase and find that customer and bring them in, then that journey of chasing money becomes a hell of a lot easier, and that also attracts a lot of advisors to you because you get known, right? So you have to balance all of those activities and events with what's the value being brought to the table. One entrepreneur who was amazing, who met me at curbside, so she's very early, and typically entrepreneurs go to this curbside to do a brief pitch. She actually came to this event not to do any pitches, but to meet me, because she wanted me to help her out, and so I did. And after a while, I said, Emma, you really got to stop pitching. You're great at it, but why don't you focus on the business right now? And she said, no, I came up to that exact same conclusion. I'm only going to pitch where there's money involved. And sure enough, she's secured $500,000 from Arlene at the Dragon's Den, and she's just accelerating. So there are a lot of them, but be very selective. pick and choose. This organization where you're at right now is an awesome spot to start.
I don't know what to say when Angelo spoke, but I think things like YSpace are very important. I think getting out and networking are important. To me, you got to cast a wide net, and you got to be out and meet a lot of people, talk to a lot of investors, talk to a lot of entrepreneurs. Make it casual, make them feel like you just want to talk to them. You're not looking for money. The money part will follow after if there's an interest. There's a popular quote that I like by Groucho Marx. I would not be a member of a club that would have me as its member. So think about that a bit, because people don't want to join what you're doing just because you're asking them to join. You got to have some sort of a value proposition for them, whether they're an investor or an advisor or a mentor, and why are they going to help you? And what is it that you're doing that's going to allow them to reach whatever they want? Whatever the reasons are for helping you, you got to make sure that you're giving them something back in terms of what they're going to give you. And I also think that Angelo's a very good person to contact if you need a mentor as well. He's got a lot of time on his hands, so make sure you get his number.
So one thing while you're transitioning to Dave, I think knowing what you need help with, being very specific in your question or your gap or what have you, will help you, like Angela was suggesting, narrow down who you're looking for. But the other, as the advisor, it's really frustrating walking in when the person's like, I don't, just help my business. And you're like, I don't even know where to begin. So have a question, and that helps the advisor answer the question, and you can kind of dissect it from there. One of the biggest frustrations I've run into is the general, help me, OB1. Okay, I don't know what to do with that. So be specific. Dave?
I think one of the things for me, it's you should always be building your network. I find that with advisors, it's by the time you come, like for some of our startups who come to me and say, hey, I need an advisor, help me. I'm like, it's too late. Like, you should have been building that network. You should know in your network who brings value. You should know exactly who you want to talk to, and if not, you should know someone who does. A lot of times the folks that, even for some of the folks that we know, they come to me, they're like, hey, I got an advisor. I was like, oh, great, who? And they tell me this whole story of how they met them and how it worked out. So usually it doesn't start by the time you're like, I'm looking for one. It just kind of comes because you're building those conversations, your network, the ecosystem plugs in, and then once they see that value, a lot of times they're coming to you. If you're building that true value for them, they're gonna come to you and say, how do I help you and how do I advise for you? So try to build that strategy. I was like, how do you build that network so that you have people come to you for that opportunity? Obviously going out to network all the time, you kind of build that network out, but you want to be a little bit strategic as well in terms of who you're talking to. Like, is it gonna be a similar space? What's the value add there? But on the flip side of it, I think you should also look at, is there any value you can add? Is there anything you can do for them? Because it's a small circle, and what goes around comes around. The more people you help, the better it is for you down the road as well. That's what I would do, and I think one thing that we've started seeing some folks do is just, whether they want to call it investor or network updates. Like, I just get emails now from people who say, hey, here's what I'm doing now, check it out. It's like a couple pictures of events they're doing, pitches they're doing, product updates, testimonials, quick milestones. Things like that are helpful because it refreshes my mind, like, oh, right, they're around. And if I'm interested at a certain point where, as an advisor, as an investor, as a customer, whatever it is, I know I can reach out because now they're keeping me top of mind, and it helps to get those, like, maybe once every 2-3 months. It doesn't have to be consistent, like every week, but just refreshes the mind and saying, oh, right, this company is around. Let me reach out to them when I'm interested. So things like that is what I would look at.
The one thing that you also should be careful about, and I've seen it happen quite a bit, because I sit down with a lot of companies, and I'll throw in my 2 cents and say, well, wait a minute, you really should be doing your business in this particular fashion. And sometimes I get the response, actually, that's the way I started out, but I sat down with someone that was mentoring me and suggested I should be going down this path. And now you're telling me I should go back down to that path. So the more advisors that you sit down and meet, ultimately, it's your business. And you should feel confident in your business. You should back it up with facts and data to indicate why you feel the business is in this particular fashion. And it should also, just as the advisor will challenge you, you should challenge the advisor. And it's a two-way street. And invariably, you're not going to be 100% right. The advisor is probably not going to be 100% right. And the correct destination point is somewhere in between.
Fantastic. So thanks, guys. So we're going to go back to the pitches, and I'm going to invite Ms. Sled to come up and deliver your pitch. Did I get it wrong? Sorry, myself. I'm reading off of the names, and I'm like, okay, this is obviously wrong, so I apologize. When no one stood up, I'm like, clearly wrong. Sorry about that.
Okay, so let me speak candidly. I'm part of the 85%. The 85% of people who are overlooked for jobs because they're not considered by, as in the top 15% of talent by recruiters. The 85% of people that are overlooked for jobs because they don't have the right work experience or qualifications. The 85% of people who can have the skills to do the job, but their resume doesn't meet some keyword that says that fits some work experience or some qualification. Even a 16-year successful career in banking technology, managing a $300 million budget with a team up to 600 people, did not replace the fact that I only had a high school degree or diploma when I was looking for job opportunities. At the age of 35, I decided I'm going to go back to school and do my MBA. And upon getting my MBA, my LinkedIn profile came up in more searches. I was offered more job opportunities for skills that I had before I did my MBA. Now, my problem is not unique. What we saw, there was a need for a platform that actually gave everybody the best opportunity in the job market based on their skills and capabilities, regardless of where they worked, where they studied, or even where they're from. And that's why, at Myself, we only reflect our users' true skills. Through our integrated assessment platform, we're able to create truly accurate, true skills profiles of our individuals and match them with employers we've identified that have those needs. By applying this process, we're actually able to increase the lifetime value of employment for both the user and the employer. Our mobile platform enables us to create meaningful and extended relationships with each one of our users and employers. A subscription service allows employers to access our True Skills network, where they provided visibility, anonymous visibility of everyone in that network that has the skills capable of doing the job, regardless of whether they have an inaccurate resume or whether they don't meet some strict job description. Using our patented process, we're able to validate or accurately validate our users' skills, and then and identify and match them to employers' needs. Thus be able to create clearly, so they can clearly understand the job expectations between the employer and the user, and that is even before the contact is established. So, the technology skills market. This is where our focus is. Our unique value proposition puts us in a place between the assessment and recruitment space that allows us to be very competitive in an already existing market. Technology is a $3.7 trillion business with 1.1 million skills short at the moment, with that expected to grow to 4.3 million skills in the next 10 years. The demand for technology skills is growing. In Canada alone, that is expected to be 220,000 within the next year. And with the increase of 25% in job opportunities or job placements for technology recruiters, this is only further informing that demand is growing. One of our priorities at Myself has always been market validation, that we always have something that is in demand. So through a variety of engagements since the beginning, we have been able to validate with software developers that there is a demand for what we need. And from our initial discussions with employers, we've also found that there is a real value in what we're going to provide. We are in the final stages of our beta testing for our go live in March, and we're already seeing the feedback that we saw when we initially tested our hypotheses. Diversity breeds success. And we put together an exceptional team of skills with knowledge in business, technology, innovation, strategy, marketing, as well as software and product development. We're further supported by a strong advisory board, which consists of the CEO and president of the YPO network, the Young Presidents Association, the former managing director of LinkedIn Canada, an accomplished entrepreneur and investor, as well as the founder and CEO of a successful technology company here in Toronto. We're in the process of raising $400,000, of which we are in final negotiations with that. But this will provide us the ability for product market fit, customer and user development, easy marketing, early marketing efforts, as well as our initial revenue generation. Thank you.
So good presentation. I love the deck. I love the way that you spoke to it as opposed to reading off the screen. I think that's very important. I didn't understand sort of who you compete against. I saw that you had the slide about the different players and where you sat in the middle, but I didn't get a sense of who your competition was. It wasn't clear to me whether you're pre-revenue or if you've got any revenue. So I think it's important to just clearly articulate that. And again, I think on the back end is in terms of the investment, what's the valuation and what you're looking for and what you get in return.
So I agree with some of the numbers that I think was said, just some of those numbers. I think the other thing, it's like the process of a platform, like the true skills, like how that's truly defined. I would have loved to see that side of it a little bit more, like what defines a true skill, and like is it themselves? And you said there was a feedback system, but to walk through that a little bit would have been good, just to understand a little bit deeper about the technology, I think, because that to me is the one part that's missing. Like I want to see that more than anything else, I think. And then just with everything that you're addressing as well, talking about your competitors, I would love to kind of see what's down the road. Like what's down the roadmap? Is there more coming? Because I feel like this is probably one piece of what you're building out. So it'd be great to see what that vision ultimately looks like.
Yeah, I think I really like this, your indication of what you're going to use the money for. And it's in the right areas from an investor's perspective, right? That it's all directed towards growth, sales, and marketing. Because that use of funds will reduce the time that it would take to realize a return on the investment. So I really like that. More details on how the investment is structured, the terms, and also the instrument would be useful. The one thing that really jumped at me was your graphic on where the marketplace is, the intersection of assessment and recruitment, and you've got myself in the intersection point. So it begs the question, if myself is the only one in that intersection, are you telling me that there's absolutely no one else in the marketplace doing that? And if there isn't, as an investor, I always get frightened of that. Competition is good. It depends on the competition and what share of the marketplace they have and what's available for you. So I'd like more details along those fronts. You had a little sort of sprinkling of your differentiation when you mentioned that you have a patent, and it would have been good to provide more details. What stage is the patent? Or what is the patent really revolving around? Which would then complete the story of this is why myself is the only one in that intersection. So some of those things, and also the growth potential. I didn't get a sense. You talked about the potential that's out there, but it didn't give me a sense of your potential and how you're going to grow over the next 5 years.
Thanks, guys. Any questions about myself?
Yeah, hi. I think this week or last week, I don't know if it's Google or Amazon, one of the big ones said that they're dropping college requirements for applications, and how does that affect you? And also, how do you leverage against a company like XREF who specialize in finding those hidden gems that have, despite of whatever there's on their resume, they have the skills, specific that is required for a job? Thanks.
So you're absolutely right, but they were just one of 12. So 12 of the largest tech companies in the world have now dropped degree from their job description for developers. And for the exact reason is the market is becoming saturated, and you've picked up everybody that has that college degree. So it is common practice. With one thing that I think didn't come across here today, what I want to explain is the difference between what we do and what everybody else does is I talked about meaningful and extended relationships with our users. So we build our profiles over time, whereas everybody else in the market currently has that one specific interaction. So if you go and you ask somebody to have technically assessed, you'll go to HackerRank, you'll say to them, assess this person, they'll come back with an assessment report and say, hire them, don't hire them. Right? Whereas what we do is we provide interactions on a continuous basis with users so they can build their skills profile over time at their own pace, and it's usually around a 10 or 15 minute interaction. So, and sometimes less than that if they choose it. So we're working on the long term so that when we build our skills profile, we provide accuracy based on the skills, based on the number of interactions that we have with the individual. So the more they're engaged, the higher the accuracy. So when an employer comes and finds that person and says, these are the skills I'm looking for, we can say with the confidence of 75% that based on the interactions we've had with this user and the number of assessments we did, they have these skills and they're valid. Does that answer the question? Yeah. Thanks for asking a question there.
Any other questions or comments? Going once, twice? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, okay. There you go.
Okay, last but not least, fit in.
Thank you. Okay, that's the forward, got it. Good evening. My name is Katherine Chan. I am the founder and CEO of FitIn. So FitIn was conceived at my work desk at my last job as I looked for a yoga class. I used to be a runner. I would do like half marathons every other weekend, but I blew my knees out, and so that left me with a gap with like, how do I stay active? How do I get that fitness in my life? And I need that. It's great for my mental health. It's great for my physical health. I tried looking for a yin yoga class specifically, and how long it took me. Let me tell you, you have to go to Google, you search, you open 27 tabs, you go through each one of them for the schedules, find out where they are. I created myself an Excel spreadsheet with a map attached to it. It took me 3 hours just to find a class near home, one near work, and one near the satellite office. So it occurred to me, like, why isn't there a TripAdvisor for fitness classes? Why isn't there somewhere I can go to find just the right class in the right place at the right time and do it quickly? Like, I'm a mom. My kid wants to do, soccer one week. She wants to do gymnastics the next, and every time I have to go look up something for her, it takes me hours on end. So the idea is that you can go to FitIn, and we have an operational website. It's fitin.io. You can go on there, use the filter searches, and find a class in your area within minutes. So who we're targeting are boutique gyms, independent instructors, and personal trainers. So those people are, right now they're doing their own sales process while concurrently running their classes. The buyers are people like me, so people who are looking for a fitness class, but that's turning out to be more and more people every year. People are dropping their memberships at like a rate of 70%. The turnover and the churn for small boutique gyms is pretty high, and they find that their drop-in classes are actually the more popular ones. The fitness, the wellness and health industry is huge. So $105 billion annually, growing pretty rapidly, but differently in different countries, of course. In Canada, it's over 243 million. This is in 2018. The number of gyms are increasing at a ridiculous pace every year. I mean, you can probably see how many boutique gyms have opened in your neighborhood in the last 12 months. 45, anybody? As well, there's 27,000 plus instructors. If you look at just CanFit Pro, not even looking at some of the other training programs, and none of them have a home. They're using Instagram and Kijiji to market themselves. In Canada, there's at least 1 million people who are looking for a gym class without having a membership, but that's growing. So what we're doing is we have a subscription and a booking fee. We also have a freemium model, so if you're looking to just find a class without having to book it, we have those on our website as well. We have over 1,100 listings currently, a combination of personal trainers and studio gym classes. Projections-wise, we're looking to do about 150,000 by the end of this year. Next year's looking about 700,000 and change, and by 2021 we hope to be doing over 2 million. In the space, there's a few others. Everyone always asks about ClassPass, but ClassPass is great for users, not so great for the businesses. They don't make any money on ClassPass users. So here again, I've tried to create a pricing model that works for fitness entrepreneurs as well. There's a lot of booking platforms. There are some small startups in the same space as me, but none of them are big enough to really have a name that anyone would recognize at the moment. But there are about 3 or 4 in Toronto even. In terms of the team, there's myself. Carlos is my senior software engineer, and I have quite the advisorial team at the moment, which is fantastic. Traction-wise, we have over 300 users right now, 49 of which are recurring users. We have over $260,000. It's not actually LOIs, it's actually revenue that we would get, from the affiliates we have on board right now. And let me tell you, that's only 14. So from 14 affiliates, we have over $260,000 worth of revenue just waiting there to be made. Recently, we were accepted into the Launch U program. We also earned one of 3 spots in the LATAM Scale Up program. So in fact, on Saturday, I'm flying to Mexico to pitch investors in Mexico City next week. We'll be launching in Mexico by the end of this year. What we're looking for right now is $200,000 for 20%. We've raised $50,000 so far. That would go to salaries for marketing and for sales, development for the mobile app, additional features on the website, and then the actual marketing and sponsorship programs. So far, I've raised $20,000 as a friends and family loan. And in terms of exit strategy, there's a few big players that might be interested. One of the things that makes us different, however, from some of our competitors is the fact that we have the mental health aspect worked into the platform as well. So it's not just fitness classes. We have a category for mental health and wellness. So you can find your meditation or your mindfulness classes there. And so that kind of creates a community. We have a very active blog and great social media interaction. Fitin.io. Please go sign up. It's free for users. Okay.
So great presentation. I think the slides were very clean, very easy story to follow along. I think some of the things that were missing for me were just cost of acquisition. I would like to know how much it costs to kind of acquire the users. I think that would be interesting, especially it's from the free side. And then I think one strategy, I think, and it's becoming more and more popular, especially with personal training, is the influencer side. So I would have loved to see how you're tackling that side of it. I think boutiques and studios are great, but I think most of the time it's the influencers who are renting that out. So what does that side of the model look like? Because I think that's where you really scale up. And then I think the last thing, I forget. Never mind.
Thanks.
So Katherine, great job. I was really interested in the mental health aspect, the tie-in with the physical health that you're describing. I like that aspect of it because one will actually feed into the other, so to speak.
Absolutely.
The one thing that I would recommend you do is bring out a little bit more in terms of your exit strategy. I see one that's a natural there, that not only could be a potential acquirer, but more importantly, a conduit to growth, and that's Sun Life. They have a health and wellness initiative.
They do.
And indicating in your presentation at what stage you're at in terms of discussions with them. The key is the differentiation, and that mental health aspect might be your vehicle to gain traction with them compared to others, because I know quite a few others that are in this very space that you just described. Mm-hmm. So identifying that differentiation, that really puts you ahead of everyone else.
Thank you.
So good job on the presentation. Just a couple of things. I think I would have liked to see more visual in terms of the healthy lifestyle and attracting me to the story a little bit more. It's not clear whether you're up and running. It seems like you got some sort of a working prototype. But again, I would like to see the visual, whether it's a website or something else that shows me what it looks like.
Sure, thank you.
And as well, I don't know if this is part of your business model, but I think there's an advertising type of opportunity as well for you, where you can get Adidas or Lululemon or someone to also participate in
They're
that.
definitely on my radar.
Okay. Yeah, but good job, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, and again, it is your turn. Any questions or comments?
So, two-part question. So, you're in Canada, and you kind of went down to Mexico. So, for example, is there any plans, A, to get into the US? That's part one. And part two, if you're doing it in Mexico, are you going to make your site multilingual so that, because for Mexico it would be more Spanish than English?
Yeah, of course. It's going to have to be translated into French for Quebec anyway. Yes, we'll be translating it into Spanish. But we have partners down there that are ready to do that for us. In terms of the States, I have a lot more competitors in the States. And so they're not somewhere, although it's a humongous market, it's going to be harder to kind of carve out my niche there. So I'm looking to kind of create a Canadian kind of superstar company first, and then once I've done that, I feel I can tackle the American market a little better. But using Mexico as kind of the vehicle to explore how that expansion works and how smoothly it can be, and kind of work the kinks out of the process, as it were. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Going once, twice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so for anyone who has been watching this, you didn't get up here and pitch, but you've kind of got the itch now. If you want to come up and do a 30-second intro of your company, you're welcome to. So I would invite anyone who wants to do 30 seconds, just kind of line up here, and we could probably turn off the thing, because then you're blinded. Anyone? We got one. Anyone else? Come on up. You're first up. So it's called symbol of line, and you'll get 30 seconds, and I'll cut you off at 30 seconds. Sorry? What I tell you to? How to time you? Just getting my timer here ready to go. Anybody else? Yeah, do it. It's safe. All right, so we got 6 people. So what's your name? Zach Steele's going to talk. You got 30 seconds. Starting now.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Zach Steele, and I'm the founder of JewishCaterer.com, which is the first online listing by city of kosher restaurants, caterers, and food service providers. We also have a very popular Facebook group, Kosher Palace, where there's discussion forums on what's happening in kosher in terms of restaurants, food trucks, and expansions of kosher food services in Toronto, including kosher pop-ups all over Toronto and beyond. Check us out, JewishCaterer.com and Kosher Palace.
And your name
Facebook.
is?
And my name is Zach Steele.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
And you are good to go now.
Hi everyone, this is Anand. So my company is Anand Tech Inc. kind of a custom software solution. So we are working on a platform for a remote workplace. So like we think remote workplace will be like kind of a future. So that's what we are working right now, and we just recently founded this corporation.
And your name is?
Anand.
Wonderful. Thank you. And you get to start in 3, 2, 1.
My name is David Katabarwa, founder of Black Lamb Entertainment. I'm pretty much gonna go out of my comfort zone here. I'm gonna give you a quick pitch. We're bringing in an artist that's never been to Canada before, Gucci Mane, September 13th. Initial investment is $606K. The revenue at 100% sellout is $1.2 million. We assume it's probably gonna be a 70% because nothing ever goes according to plan, which would be a profit of 133 that will go towards to us. And an investor who came in at 50% would get.
And your name is?
My name is David Katabar. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Philip. I'm a film director. I'm working right now on a project called Severance Day, which is a hard-hitting heist drama. The development of the film is done. We have Emmy Award-winning heads of departments, and starting in, right now we're in pre-production for a teaser trailer that's going to be ready by mid-July, so really exciting to show that to everyone then. You can visit severanceday.com for more information. Thank you.
Just remind everybody of your name.
Philip.
Thanks, Philip. Go.
Hi, my name is Serkan. If you know, 45% of food services industry, especially restaurants and bars, employs part-timers, mainly Gen Z right now, which results in high turnover, making the schedule a nightmare for managers, owners, etc. When the hiring takes time, staffing agencies are expensive, and the on-demand apps are inconsistent. Our solution to this is to give them a scheduling tool.
And your name is?
Oh my God. Look, was it that quick?
30 seconds.
Seriously. Serkan.
It sounds so much easier when you're sitting down. You're 30 seconds, there's tons of time, and then this happens. So. Thanks, Lucas. Yeah, no problem. So that's all we do, right? It gives you a sense of what it's like to be on stage, and it's all safe. So you get to go in 3, 2, 1.
So before I start, Lucas, can you name an athlete for me? Any athlete?
Sure, Kawhi.
Kawhi Leonard, excellent choice. Can you name a brain champion for me?
A brain champion?
Yeah.
Kawhi's coach?
It's a good one. We can put him on the exception, but that's usually the face we get because there's no real such thing today. And we want to change that. Our app is Quickly. It's a competitive take on cognitive development. First there was Bruce Lee, then there was Jet Li, now it's time for Quickly.
And your name is?
My name is Gyanendra Khanna, and I'm the founder and CEO of Quickly. Thank you.
Well done. 30 seconds. Anybody else? Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to network for a little bit. In about 15 minutes, some pizza's coming. So if you want pizza and, prior to whatever game you might be watching later tonight, if you're into that sort of thing, you're welcome to stay. I think you've kind of got a chance to listen to people share their projects, their passions, what they're working on. This is the opportunity to exchange ideas and really, converse and get to know more people, expand your network. Angela was saying that earlier about, meeting more people and getting to know individuals. So this is that opportunity before the pizza gets here.